I want to try to see if we could briefly discuss a couple things for you. I know we have our baby monitor, but yeah, again, you want to be, you want to, I'm not really doing anything wrong. We aren't really, I mean, we're not really, it's not 1984. I mean, you're allowed to talk. A couple things. The little, well, our topic is whether or not this issue about psychoanalysis being a political movement. To the extent that it's a political movement, you got to remember, like, once something's set in motion, someone who's a trained like psychoanalyst, like, doesn't necessarily know that they've been trained in something that's a political movement, because remember, like, things have a life of their own after a while. It's the founding of the thing, the fact that, like, Freud was thrown out of, that Jung was thrown out of the movement and everything at the time. But you have to know you'd be interested in the history of psychoanalysis and the history of psychiatry, and that's not necessarily something to study if you want to be a psychoanalyst. Like, so you wouldn't know anyway. It's not that they're in a covert like political movement. It's not that. If it's a political movement, things have a life of their own. But to do a little schizophrenic, chaotic, and disorganized thinking, I was going to recommend that this issue of Vanity Fair has an article with Ben Affleck, who I think I saw his movie on Iran, this movie he made about this thing happening in Iran, and I think it won the Academy Award, I perceive. And there's a more chaotic and disorganized thing. There's a picture in there of my friend. We've talked about how Wes Anderson saved your narrator's life. I want to thank him again. I don't know how it's possible, but he knew that shit was going to go down in San Francisco. Darjeeling Limited, thank God I saw that movie. Saved my life. When I landed down here on my run from the high-priced nut house, like, schizo narrator, like, lands in San Francisco, and there's, like, Indian gaslight hotels. Right. Where have I seen this before? Like, Wes Anderson put clips in his movie to, like, warn the other people. He grew up around the corner from me. I don't know what private school he went to, but I always remember the Harmony Club. Put clips in his movies to warn, like, the other, like, they're gonna do this, because I don't mean it that, like, Crystal Hotel, where I was, like, reparented by, like, that's, like, a different thing what the Indian people did there. But no, down at those hotels, that's so dangerous. Down at those hotels, they're spying on people, and but I got scared. I ran with my computer again. But wait a minute, the reason I was like, oh shit, I know what's going down, right? Because Wes Anderson put clips in Darjeeling Limited to, like, signal that this was gonna happen, apparently, right? And there's a picture in here. This girl he puts in all his movies, suspense girl called Gwyneth. Gwyneth Paltrow. She's, I guess, his age. I don't know what private school he went to. Maybe he went to Browning, for all I know. No, I would have heard of that. She has a nice pink dress on here. She looks nice. But this is the thing about that. About this thing about psychoanalysis being a political movement. I don't, like, illuminate what I mean all the time. But, listen to me. You have to understand. It does beggar comprehension. There's a professor at one of these at a California university who they joke around is like the person the anti-Semites love, because he wrote this book called The Culture of Critique, and he does describe the chapter on the psychoanalysis movement. Is interesting, but he certainly doesn't address what I'm going to address. You can read the chapter. It's a very short chapter on the psychoanalysis movement and the culture of critique, and he perceives that they were forming a Jewish political movement. But wait a minute. What this guy Freud did in terms of forming that movement, my first thought, based on what had happened to me in my life, was, well, that's interesting. He seems to have, like, put in, like, to it things that would tend to keep someone, like, in an abusive Jewish family. Like, that it seems designed to, because I remember one of his theories is, beef with him, the only child never individuates, who says. It's sort of like designed this movement, like the way because those insights are all true, but you have to read the essential papers. There's a whole series called Essential Papers. I ordered them all and tried to put them in the little library in the High Price Nut House. They were removed. They don't want them to know. We don't tell the kids about that. They could jump room into the future, like we don't tell the kids. So they removed them. But you read the Essential Papers, you'll learn the insights of the, like, Austrian people, whatever, like, who did the. No, that's real. That's the psychic structure of people in Western societies. Okay, but wait. What Freud did is he made this, like, movement, and the thing is, like, okay, my instinct was, like, it's sort of part of it's designed to keep, cover abuse in Jewish families and stuff. But what I've discovered down here, we do have to ask what the explanation is. every single thing, particularly, well, no, all of the sort of like original like way the movement and the way they're to perceive what the diagnosis are. I mean, that would be a way. It is a way. As your reptilian defector could tell you, right? I mean, if there's all this stuff that's known that's maybe being revealed at this time or something, or the people like are disclosing, and I'm doing a lot of disclosing. Right. I mean, anyone who would tend it would work as whatever type. I mean, it's true. Look, there's all different types of Jewish people. I mean, whatever type like may or may not like be doing something bad or like wants to control. I mean, in a historically oppressed group that's like, believe me, I mean, their religion, or was or whatever. That is the day they recount what was done to them, right? I mean, it does tend to cover up things that are actually happening, and were someone to notice them, that would tend to like dismantle the power of such a group. Like, right, there's a diagnosis, and the thing is, right. I mean, I want to review some of these. I mean, like, um, particularly schizophrenia. I mean, the derealization experience. I mean, anyone who, when he was politically awake or was like read, I mean, in 1984 or something. But then we also have this issue of like, it's good derealization and the odd beliefs and the atypical use of language and such and such and such. I mean, these things would be designed to incarcerate someone who would um who would tend to want to reveal certain things or tend to want to be in whatever this like new earth thing is or whatever. Right. I mean, we tend to you diagnose a person with schizophrenia. Um, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff like that. It does seem designed to take the power away from someone who would want to dismantle a certain power structure of like the illuminated. Remember, people go, "Who's the Illuminati?" I mean, I used to tell this guy in the nut house, "Well, you're the Illuminati. You just don't know it." It's a type of it's a level of awareness about things like puts you in that class right off the bat. And then there are probably levels of that, but I mean, to a substantial degree, what I said, like when I read David Icke, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like a lot of this is actually just like an imaginative way of like telling a certain young person like how certain things are done. The reptilians, they use their right brain and they signal and everything. Well, I always called that like just thinking conceptually. I mean, that's how you sort of like read certain things. I mean, right, the reptilians, they use their right brain to signal like you have to turn off your left brain. Like I already knew that because I read like the objectivist epistemology and I've worked in media and I grew up with advertising people. I mean, that's right. That's how I was watching the news to begin with before David Icke did that. Right. I mean, but I'm saying, right. I mean, if you were to discover that and not know that, and then be like, trying to tell like poor people about it, like how it's done in like a certain sector of the ruling class, like that's mainly like Jewish people, right? Like if you were like a young person was discovering that or something, or like, right, like they diagnose you with schizophrenia and like institutionalize you for saying so this, it's for seeing it in such a way. I mean, that would be why it's like a Jewish political movement. It would tend to silence anyone who would want to like help to dismantle what would be called the Illuminati. That would be why. I'll make a better video.